welcome. My name is Turmentic, and today I feel like I actually have some of the first real answers I've seen when it comes to MetaZoo over the last 3 months or so. If you remember from the last video I did, in the middle of it, said I would love to actually hear some sort of a statement from Andy, Aoki, or Shaw, something, based off of just what we got from Mike. And Shaw actually got back to me and answered some questions for me. And I gotta tell you, turmeric is a little spicy tonight, but you know what? Good for us. Our jaws are probably going to be on the floor when you actually hear some of this stuff. So, let's jump right in. So, the first question I asked was, there are many rumors going around, but what was your official role at MetaZoo? My title was Chief Operating Officer, he said. My role was to support day-to-day business operations and to develop the most effective solutions for the direct initiatives of the company. Ultimately, all company decisions were the responsibility of the CEO. The next question was, did you have or anyone else at the company have any knowledge of what Mike was going to post on January 29th? And Shaw said, no. I had no clue that a public announcement would happen, and neither did the rest of the staff that I spoke to. I do know we were working closely with a major investor at the time, and I recall they withdrew their interest the evening before this public announcement. There were still plenty of other options, and the announcement was not helpful at all. And from the staff that I've actually talked to and from other people, I've not seen anybody that knew that the ceasing operations letter on the 29th was actually going to be posted. According to this, in my opinion, it seems like it wasn't warranted either. That there were a couple of different avenues that maybe it could have gone. There were still plenty of other options, and the announcement was not helpful. That right there just really kind of spoke volumes to me. I then followed up with, were you let go from the company at the same time as everyone else? Who's in charge that you know of? Is it the board? Does that still exist? Shaw responded with, I was kept on for a few weeks after the announcement. Everything was left in total chaos, and I was asked to help the company try to figure out what to do next. It quickly became clear that nothing was going anywhere soon. I wasn't going to be paid, and it was really an ownership concern at that point, so I moved on. And that brought me to the next question of who would have declared the company bankrupt, who would have seen that process through, because that was the big thing that Mike kept talking about in the video on Whatnot with Bailey, was bankruptcy not being declared, and it should have been declared when he left. And so I was just like, well, who would have even been able to start that process? That's what I asked Shaw. And his response was, I believe the company has to hire a legal team to file for bankruptcy if the owners choose to do this. It would be great if this happened. I never received my last few paychecks. And again, that seems to, he's not the first that I've heard that hasn't gotten paid. It's very public that everybody knows Bear Walker was not paid for the last wave of boards. It's become more public that Jet wasn't paid for PFP 2.0. I know there's other instances, other businesses that haven't been paid, and Shaw's even saying right now that he hasn't gotten his last couple paychecks either. I'm assuming that's one of the reasons why at a certain point, once he realized that it was an ownership concern, he left to move on to other things. Now, this next question, honestly, the answer to it, in my opinion, is heartbreaking. But I asked him, last week, there were rumors about the company coming back. Was there a new investor? And his response was, yes, there was. Since the announcement, I've received at least a dozen inquiries looking to buy MetaZoo. Recently, I decided to vet a few, and there were some good ones. I presented the first offer, which I really considered to be a bailout of a lifetime. But Mike added on a demand for additional money for himself personally. Sadly, the investor backed out. That same day, his videos came out. He's talking about the Mike Bailey Whatnot stream. But that same day, his videos came out, and I decided not to continue with the other investors. I've literally been sitting here for like the last 5 minutes trying to figure out how to continue after that, and how to put my thoughts around that. Because here you have an opportunity for this to continue. You have this opportunity for all of this stuff that's been going on to put it behind us, to move forward. And I said it in the last video. If this is something that Mike really does care about, it's something that he would be fighting to make it continue. And if he has an option of continuing it and he turns it down, at the end of the day, in my opinion, it's like he's trying to burn it himself, I guess. And that's heartbreaking. That's just heartbreaking. The next question I asked Shaw was, there's been talk about MetaZoo inventory being moved, liquidated, or thrown away. Is any of that true? Didn't Golden just move warehouses? And his response was, yes, the Golden warehouse did just move across the country to Tennessee. However, all of the MetaZoo inventory at that location is still held subject to a lien for non-payment of storage costs. Nothing can happen there until something can be done legally. The last I recall, there are 5 or 6 other MetaZoo inventory locations nationwide that are not affiliated with Golden, and as far as I know, they are in the same situation. So, all of the inventory that was moved to Tennessee when they just recently moved warehouses isn't going anywhere. It's basically subject to lien for non-payment. Is basically it's stuck there in the legal system until they can get some sort of payment for storing it. And it looks like from that statement there are 5 to 6 other locations across the country, whether it's a storage unit or a warehouse or who knows what's in these things, where they're actually located. I honestly didn't even know that MetaZoo had more than just the Golden location in California, to be completely honest with you. So yeah, that's interesting. That's super interesting to me. The last thing that I asked him was, anything else you'd like to say or make a statement? And his response was, this journey with MetaZoo has been an amazing adventure for me. Definitely one of the most challenging businesses I've been involved with. Met so many really exciting, passionate, and fun-loving fans, and got to work with some very large business partners. I really appreciate all of the praise and positive responses to me from the community, especially recently. And this one is my favorite, and he sent the picture of the meme, which the meme I thought was actually kind of funny. But yeah, that's all I got. I know it isn't everything. I know there's still a lot of questions, but this does, in my opinion, really start painting a picture of exactly what happened. Because if in my opinion, if Shaw didn't know about the ceasing operations letter on the 29th, and the other staff members that I've talked to, and people who, like, no one knew about it. So that tells me that it was an off-the-cuff response. And like in the statement, it said it occurred the evening after the first investor, I guess, in January, pulled out. And since then, Mike separated from the company. And again, we don't fully know if he separated himself or if the company got rid of him or if the board, like, we don't even know what the involvement of the board was or anything like that. I know there was a lot of assumptions that when Mike removed himself, I guess, from the Discord and Shaw got the headcaster role, that Shaw was in charge. It seems honestly like when Mike left, Andy ghosted, and no one was in charge. Mike took the keys with him, almost, in essence. And that's why there was so much chaos, I guess, for those first, like, solid 2 weeks. Some of the artists didn't know if they were still employed. Like, some of the other employees didn't know if they were actually still there. And then they slowly, one by one, let everybody go. And it's just, I don't know. Like I said last time, like I don't know. I don't know why it imploded. Because it seems to me, from the information that I've gathered, there were other options. There were other ways of fixing what was going on. And something else that I want to really throw out there, because I haven't really seen anybody, maybe Nick made the distinction at one point, but I haven't seen anybody really make the distinction that there are two different forms of bankruptcy. And no one's been super clear on exactly what they mean when they say bankruptcy. Especially in the corporate world, you have Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which is a full liquidation of all assets to pay a list of creditors and a set of priorities. And then there's Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which is a restructuring of the debt, paying off creditors to a point, but continuing operations. And specifically talking about the Mike statement that he made on Bailey's Whatnot, it almost like it seemed like Mike was going back and forth between Chapter 7, Chapter 11. Like, if we can absolve the debt and continue, we will, or we'll completely liquidate everything. That's kind of like what he was talking about, I guess. But it doesn't have to be Chapter 7 full liquidation, it seems like. It seems like there are options for this to continue. There seems like there are ways for this IP, for this game to move forward without Mike, it seems. But it can move forward. And I guess, honestly, at the end of the day, the real and only question is Mike going to let his legacy be the destruction of this beautiful thing that I know he still cares about? Or is he going to actually allow it to continue? Because I'll be honest, he's the only one that I kind of feel that's really pushing to end all of this. And that's heartbreaking. Just heartbreaking. All of it. But my name is Turmentic, and I'll keep doing everything I can to find out as much information as I can till we get a clear picture of exactly what's happened and where we're going. Because I care about this entire community so much. And I know that this will be closure for some, but I don't feel like this is the end of the story, if that makes sense. Whether MetaZoo continues or not, because I'd, at this point, flip a coin. But at least we kind of know where everything's at. I guess. Kinda.